All right, everyone, I'm going to assume that you followed instructions and you do have yesterday's sheet out, that you are ready to pick up. Today's exercise is going to be, simply put, training for the assignment. Remember, when the assignment comes up, the formulas shouldn't be a mystery. In fact, it's reading a question and trying to interpret it on your own. That's the most important part. So here's a question that might not seem familiar right away. My goal is, or my request was, to look at this question and fill in everything that you need and see what number is not provided. Okay? I'll give you 30 seconds. Just very quickly, fill in what you know, leave blank what you don't know or you're not quite sure of, and we will try it. And I also always encourage, take a guess with logic. Take a logical guess, and if that's wrong, see why it's wrong. What number is obvious, what numbers are not so much, and what is absolutely not with it. All right, here we go. This is why I want an investment of 3,000 to grow to 4,538 over a period of 10 years. Packed with information. What is my principal? Well, looks like Mrs. Y is going to put in 3,000. What's my future amount or final amount? 4,538. Time is 10 years. What must the annual interest rate be? So I don't know what the R is. If the interest is compounded bi-weekly, what does that mean? How many times a year is it compound? How many times is it calculated? Oh. There we go. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, so gross. It still has a glue taste in my mouth. Disgusting. Yep. 20. Okay. Yeah. Oh no. Okay. Bi-weekly. How many times is that a year? This is something that you need to remember. And if you don't, scroll up, look up at the top of the sheet. 26 times. I am calculating the interest 26 times a year. Yes. Yesterday's. It's the very last question we did not do. And I left it here because, number one, I think it was valuable for you to get some practice with N before you do a hard question like this. Ready? So let's plug it in. Now that we have compounding periods, your formula looks like this. R is divided by how many times you do it a year. And the number of years is also multiplied by how many times you do it a year. So 4, 5, 3, 8 equals 3, 0, 0, 0, 1 plus 0. Oh, sorry, I don't know R, sorry. Divided by 26. 26 times 10, which is 210. Do you see the trouble with this question? This was actually a variation of this was actually a T question on your test. How do you get the R value all alone? And if you remember from chapter 7, our exponent stuff, we did a question that tries to eliminate everything and solve for the R value inside the bracket. Okay. This is basically a confirmation of whether you did the test right or not. 4538 has to be divided by 3,000 so that I can get the exponent, the power portion, all below. So So 4538 divided by 3000 is 1.5126666, repeating, equals 1 plus r over 26 to the power of 260. Oh, pop quiz. Who remembers? How do you, so remember outside in, right? We have to get rid of the exponent before we could do the bracket. It's reverse bedrock. How do I get rid of an exponent again? What was the opposite? Cameron? Square. Yeah, so if it was a square, then the opposite is a square root. If it was a cube, the opposite is a cubed root. If it is x to the power of 260, you have to root to the index of 260. So I'm going to do this. So this is root of 260, and this is root of 260. So what's left on the right side, the root and the power 260 is going to be removed. Now I have to solve this side, right? 260th root, power of 260, they will inverse, like they're opposite, they will cancel each other out in that sense. And 260th root of that is approximately, and it's important to do all the decimals until the very end, 1.001593. As many decimals as your patience will allow. Very important. So I'm going to get everyone to try this. Grab your calculator, see if you can do this, because on your assignment, I might ask you to reverse it and calculate the R value. Can you just double check to make sure you can do the 260th root and get an answer like this? Just wait a couple of more seconds. If you don't get it, just raise your hand and we'll address it one by one. But it's really important that you can get it. Turn it around. Yeah, right. So let's say it's a multiplication, but in fact, it has to be the square root. We're going to use this x. Let's do 260. Our computer is actually the number within the get it? Everyone's good? Yeah? Okay. Sounds good. And now that I have this, I'm just going to do everything in one go. I'm trying to get R all alone, so I'm going to subtract by 1, leaving me with, let me erase this. If I subtract 1 from both sides, I get 0.001593 equals just R over 26. In other words, I subtracted 1 from both sides, as I said. Now, to be more familiar, to get R all alone, I need to get rid of a division of 26. I will multiply both sides by 26. It gives me R as 0.0411418. And so typically we can round. R is going to be about 4.14%. If you have a highlighter or a different color pen, just put a little star or put a little circle next to it. Do whatever you need to remind yourself that this is a great example of when you're looking for the R value. Yes? Approximately. Yeah, it's another way of saying About equals to. Right? That's essentially it. Today, I'm going to give you some more questions as if it was an assignment. What if I asked you this way? What if the question gave you it that way? And blah, blah, blah. And the rest of class, you can sort of essentially prepare for your assignment. As a reminder, early next week, I am going to be giving you the final assignment of the year. I hope you're excited. This assignment is going to be using your financial math skills to, long story short, plan your dream retirement with all the bells and whistles. I'm going to get you to calculate housing. I'm going to get you to calculate electricity. I'm going to get you to calculate how much your life insurance will cost. I'm going to get you to calculate everything and essentially map out your future like a real accountant. And then we'll see just how far away or how close your dreams actually are using the power of exponents. All right, here we go. Our final piece of today is me getting you to try some practice questions. And here it is. This is the essence of today's lesson. If you've been practicing homework, then this is super easy. If not, this might look like a new equation to you. In fact, I invite you to choose one or the other. Everyone, do you remember this equation? Yeah. R divided by N, this sheet calls it just I for interest, right? So don't be fooled, the I is equal to R over N. And also N, this particular sheet that I got it from, the textbook just wrote it as N and not N times T. So don't be fooled, this is the compounding period multiplied by how many years you have. Okay? So it's basically the same thing. Now with that said, let me write this out. What if I have my A, so let's I have my A, I don't have my P, I have my 1 plus Rn, and I have my NT. In other words, for example, just to have numbers, let's pretend this is $100. That's my P, I have 1.01, and I have like 10. Or how about just 1 year? 1 year. How do you calculate P again? Yes? By? Not each other, but there is division. We want P all alone, so we want to get rid of this bracket. Agreed? So we divide both sides by that bracket. So it turns into 100 divided by 1.01 to the power of 1 equals P. Does that make sense to everyone? Getting up here? Does that make sense? If I were to turn this back into an equation, that is equal to the final amount, A, $100, divided by, what's the bracket? 1 plus R divided by N to the power of T. That is what this equation is. So, for example, Brendan, I know you're fine with algebra, right? You don't care at all. Would you rather just memorize one formula here and then do the algebra yourself? Or would it be easier for you to just memorize this formula because it's doing the algebra for you? For you, it will be easier to memorize? Okay, so then now you have 2 formulas to deal with. Okay? So other people who are very comfortable just plugging in numbers like this and then dividing, know that this formula on the right side here, the one that I wrote, and this formula on the left that's given to you, is exactly the same formula. It's just doing the algebra for you. Okay? So do whatever you want. A lot of today's questions are going to be, hey, I'm going to give you the future amount. Tell me what I started with. So it's just an algebra step as a way to practice. This concept is called present value, the current value, the now value. The question is going to say, I will give you the future amount. What amount do I have now? Does that make sense? I'm not trying to be confusing, but it's just a natural scenario you might see in real life, so you should be able to do it. Another example, listen carefully. What if I say this? This is how much money I have now. So tell me what number goes where, okay? I have $100 now. How much did I have last year? Where does the $100 go? I have $100 now. How much did I have last year? Yes. $100 goes. Are you sure? Think about the scenario. I have $100 now. How much did I have last year? Which one's the future amount? The now is the future amount. Do you see how it can be a little confusing? Think about it this way. If you want to give a little bit of a hint for yourself so that you're ready for every situation, the P, right, is before. And A would be after. Just because it says future amount doesn't mean we're always looking into the future. What if it was a question that we're looking into the past? Please be careful of that, because it's really easy to trick yourself sometimes. We'll get some examples soon. All right. We'll do one question together. Not example 2. I'm looking for one where it's example 4. Look very carefully. I knew I had one like this. Let's write everything that we know. Kathy has a savings account that pays interest at 4%. I'll write that right away. Compounded monthly. I'm going to write that right away. And then this is just a little thing to make sure that no one makes any weird assumptions. She doesn't take any money out, okay? There is, read it carefully, everyone, read it carefully. There is $3,080.94 today. How much interest has the account earned in the past 8 months? So it's looking in the past. So the final amount is going to be $3,080.94. I do not know what the principal is. We're going to need that if we want to calculate interest. Time. Time is 8 months. Which is how many years? Put it together. Brendan, would you like me to use the rearranged formula you prefer? All right. Now, if I remember correctly, P is equal to A divided by 1 plus R divided by N, all to the power of NT. That is 3,080, which is what I have now, And I'm trying to find what I had before. 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12, all to the power of 8 over 12 times 12. In other words, I could just round that, that becomes 8. Okay. 8 over 12 times 12 is just 8. Please make sure you're putting the calculator to good use, that you are not making any algebra mistakes on this calculator. And see if you get the same answer as me. P is equal to exactly 3,006. Try it on your calculator. And if that makes sense to you, the rest of this sheet is all practice. Think about it as exercises that are similar to what you might get on your assignment. And away we go.